So I would like to expound on the initiative of the Line Committee within the Parliament of Ukraine on the elaboration of a single codal document. The working title is the Urban Development Code of Ukraine, but we are having some acrimonious debate about the name of this document. Architectural, construction code, urban development code, spatial development code, so there's no consensus in this regard. I would like to elucidate the purpose of this endeavor. So we have this broad framework, and the general purpose is to enhance the level of development and construction culture of Ukraine. So what is this construction or urban development culture? It comprises three components: legal relations, and it will be regulated by the code, like the documents that need to be submitted, the permits that need to be obtained, and whatnot. Technical regulation, so this is something that is regulated by the state construction norms. This will not be the focus of our working group, but we will definitely put forward some recommendations in this regard. And the development of technologies, this is the task of science and the market. So our work will focus on legal relations. This is the vexing issue in the area of urban planning and development. To achieve this global goal, we set four objectives. The first objective is systematization, so we need to systematize our legislation. Currently, our urban development legislation has about 25 different laws and regulations. There might be even more of them. We also have a lot of secondary legislation, orders and decrees of the Ministry of Regional Development, construction regulations, and we definitely need to have a single code or a single legislative document. Another objective is to strike a balance of interests between local residents, local authorities, central authorities, developers, and construction companies. Our intention is to incorporate the best European practices into this code. Why? Because we want to craft a document that will not have to be redone once we join the European Union. And there is another challenge that we are facing right now, which is Ukraine's recovery. On the one hand, this is something that we want to do in a fast manner. We want to do it with the highest quality possible, at minimum cost, and it's a formidable task. We will have to sacrifice certain things. What are the principles behind the elaboration of this code? It will be definitely an inclusive process. We are working from the bottom up, so it's not really about politicians or their lawyers sitting in offices, writing a document, and then devolving it to the local level. We are engaging a wide variety of experts from different walks of life, from different domains and professions at the very beginning of this process. We are also planning to have educational and awareness raising campaigns. We will involve international experts, and they will share their experience of urban development and urban planning regulation in their countries. We don't really have some brutal forms of communication. We don't really point fingers. We don't really say that you are right, I'm wrong, or vice versa. So once again, it's a very European communication culture, bottom up. Here you can see the main stages of developing this code. A roadmap envisages 2 years. You might think that it's a lot of time, but believe me, this is very little time, because usually the development of codes requires about 4 years. But unfortunately, in Ukraine, we need to work in an expedited manner. So we will do everything possible to do it within 2 years. We will have 3 main stages. We are where the green tick is. We are at the very beginning. So the first phase, or the first stage, is the drafting of the concept. So before we develop the code, we need to have a concept in place where we agree on legal relations between all the urban development stakeholders. The second stage or phase implies the drafting of the code text and submitting it to the parliament for consideration. So once this document is considered, discussed, once proposals are put forward, we can have this document registered. It's an extremely important stage. The red squares reflect everything that happens in the public domain, which is crucial because we definitely need to engage the public. This is the only approach to drafting any policy. So we need to have working group meetings, and these meetings are broadcast on YouTube. These video recordings can be watched by anyone. We also have a lot of independent experts participating, and each and every stage will be based on checks and balances. We will have public consultations, public committees, etc.
So who are on the task force or the working group? We have 189 people from 62 institutions. How was it shaped? We sent invitations to different parts of urban planning process, different professional communities, associations, and so on. So the people that are the most professional in the field, and they have sent their representatives. Therefore, we have a good presence from all the professions that participate in urban planning. We also have people's deputies, which is very important because they will later have to present the concept in Supreme Council. We have all the representatives of self-governance, all the ministries, all the stakeholders. We have architects, engineers, archaeologists, geologists, and law enforcement officers, and so on and so forth. As I said, we are on the first stage still. You can see our discussion plan that consists of 4 big blocks. In green, you can see what has been done already. We have met one another, got to know each other. We have spoken about Ukrainian identity, values, urbanization, demographic forecasts, assessment of destruction, codification as a concept. What does code mean? And at 4 o'clock, we're going to have our next session, which is going to be on the issues of international framework. That is the requirement of European community and international community in terms of what needs to be a part of Ukrainian legislation, how to harmonize it with Europe. And we will have 4 more events. So please join us if you have any experience, if you're involved in designing, construction, commissioning, and so on. And then next section is the international experience, where we will find out more about regulations in other countries, and then the section on suggestions, and afterwards we're done. And if we get the approval from the committee, we will get to writing down of the text. So how could you communicate with us? Please follow us on Facebook. It's on the screen, and this is where you will be able to familiarize yourself with all the materials. And this is our email, very easy to remember. And most importantly, we have started a big library. Here is the link to connect to the library. This is where we upload all kinds of studies that have been conducted. We also have the materials of our task force or working group that have been already elaborated. So the most frequent questions has the code been written yet? Has the concept of the code been written yet? Is going to do the concept? No, the code hasn't been written yet. The concept hasn't been written yet. We're working on it. We are deeply convinced that the concept has to be written by all the experts. How can you participate in the process? You can send us an email with your suggestions. We also have a question about what is the difference between the code and the collection of laws. Collection of laws is just laws that were written by different experts with different concepts, but code is a single document with an integral structure. It's a systemic document that regulates a specific field of societal relationship following a single concept. We also have discussed with our working group whether we have preconditions for codification, because you need to have separate specific factors in place. Not every society dares to venture into codification. We know that in 2010 this kind of code was elaborated, but it wasn't approved. Instead, a law was approved in 2011. And here you can see that the preconditions are in place. And here I would like to cite Rini Kabriak, that code is a carrier of the main values of the society that has given birth to it, and the codification helps to unite the society. It signals the closure of social crisis. It allows to approve new rules of the game, and it consolidates social ceasefire. And what is it that we pay special attention to? Here are the 5 parts of the process. We have agreed that our main focus is the resident, because all of us are residents, and also from the viewpoint that Ukrainian cities are going to compete for residents, because the demographic predictions or forecasts for Ukraine are quite sad. And to create a code, we need to pull our efforts together, just in the same way as we do when we're building a house. Thank you for your attention.
Anya, thanks so much for this really fast introduction in your work. A question from my side. There is this international conference in Ukraine right now. Looking at the audience, there is quite a lot of specialists that could help. How do you think the international community could help a complex, let's say, national topic like this?
Thank you for your question. First and foremost, we would be very happy to see you as speakers on our international section, and I think you can send us an email and we can pull our efforts together. And secondly, when the concept is ready, when there's a specialized professional organization, other kind, if they could go through this concept and provide their feedback. For instance, here you need some changes, here something needs to be improved, and here everything is in accordance with European principles, then we would be very grateful for such assessment.
Thanks. This is a very clear answer. Another question from my side. I know you were very active also in wintertime, especially around Law 5655. Can you tell me the relationship between that period and what you're doing right now with the new codex?
Який зв'язок? Well, the situation with 5655 draft, it's been channeled to the president. It hasn't been signed yet, while the code is a new document which is supposed to incorporate all the most important things, not just from the law on construction, but from other laws as well. So we pull the best ideas from different concepts that have been elaborated before, and therefore we hope that we will have a very clear, integral document that will represent a balance of all the processes.
Thank you. And this integral document, as you call it, you also said we have only 2 years and we have little capacity at this moment. So we have to, in my words, we have to kill our darlings. We have to make choices. So last question for you. In this integral document, which things could never leave the table from your point of view?
I think that the main principle is the involvement of residents to on the level of adopting solutions in the cities. We haven't gotten there as yet, but I think this is most important because it won't be possible to make any decisions without the involvement of residents.